At the beginning of Avatar: The Last Airbender, when Aang awakens in an iceberg, he learns that there are very few other humans that have survived the whole 100-year war. Aang learns that in order to defeat Fire Lord Ozai and put an end to the conflict, he must become the Avatar after being defrosted.
Why didn't you tell us you were the Avatar? Because I never wanted to be.
Aang must also reconcile the devastation he left behind when he vanished in the entirely different world he has now entered. Though not many survived the war, Aang is still in good company. Aang's journey to becoming the Avatar, the only person capable of controlling all 4 elements, was documented in Avatar: The Last Airbender. The air nomads, from which 12-year-old Aang was a member, were wiped out in the 100-year war not long after he ended up trapped in an iceberg. A few characters survived the reign of the Fire Nation and the end of the war, despite the fact that the world underwent a complete transformation while Aang was absent. Most of those individuals were acquainted with Aang before the war, and were able to assist him in adjusting to his weird new environment as he got ready to save it. Aang and Appa, obviously. Due to their shared freezing in the iceberg, Aang and Appa were able to survive the 100-year war. Aang fled the Air Temple before it was destroyed by the Fire Nation because he was burdened by the demands of being the Avatar, when he just wanted to be a regular boy. He and Appa were both frozen as a result, and they were in there for almost the entirety of the war before teenagers Katara and Sokka found him in the ice. We all know that they are both around the age of 112. King Bumi of Omashu. Bumi was Aang's closest friend before the 100-year war began, and when the Avatar reappeared, he was the only friend he had left. The intelligent earthbender and eccentric monarch of Omashu became friends with Aang when Bumi showed him how to use the Omashu chute delivery system as a super slide when they were young. Bumi and Aang were reunited after Aang's return, and Bumi later assisted in the liberation of Ba Sing Se as a member of the White Lotus. King Bumi is around the same age as Aang, as we see during the flashback. We think it's safe to assume that he is in his 110s when we meet him in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the last lion turtle. The largest known animal in the world is the lion turtle. After the very first Avatar was made, the lion turtle stopped carrying human cities around on their backs to defend them from the spirits. The lone lion turtle remained after all but one were hunted to extinction, and they journeyed far from human settlement until coming upon Avatar Aang on the shores of Ember Island. The lion turtle has existed for a very long time, and will probably live a lot longer. Katara and Sokka's grandmother, Gran-Gran. While it's not revealed how old Gran-Gran is, she does account memories before the war. So it's safe to assume that she was alive before, and lived to see the war begin and end. Guru Patik. Guru Patik was a friend of Monkey Atso, Aang's teacher. After the Fire Nation invasion, Patik was able to scurry to the Eastern Air Temple, where he awaited for Aang's reappearance for almost a century. When Aang came out of the iceberg, Patik felt his awakening and waited for him at the temple to assist him in mastering the Avatar state. We're not really sure how old Patik is, but there is a theory that he is a lot older than anybody may think. Avatar Kyoshi lived to be 230 years old. But how? With the help of a special guru that taught her the secrets of immortality. And the theory we mentioned earlier might explain who taught her, and how a certain monk was still around all those years later. Kyoshi learned the secret of immortality from somebody named Lao Ge. But there's a theory out there that Lao Ge is Guru Patik all those years later. Lao Ge had already lived for 300 years, at least he says, when he taught Kyoshi his secrets. But speculation amongst the fandom, which Mike and Brian haven't denied, states that he could have been potentially 3,500 to 4,000 years old by Kyoshi's time. This is supported by his knowledge of life long before his supposed time. I mean, he was immortal, so who knows how old he actually is? He could have easily changed his identity hundreds of times before becoming Lao Ge. Which brings us to the theory. So what if, as he lived on, his spirit and connections with the chakras changed, he assumed the name of Guru Patik and continued to help avatars for years to come? I mean, it makes sense to us. Did we miss any other oldies in the Avatar series? Let us know, and tell us what you think about our theory of Guru Patik. We'll see you next time, and until then, stay flamin'!